Alright, I'm getting hungry, but I'm not gonna eat until I finish doing all these rankings. I got 2 left. We're almost there. Phase 4. The MCU only has 7 films this time. And a plethora of TV shows. We're not going to talk about the TV shows here. We're going to do that in a separate ranking. Like I said. So, how did I say I was going to do those? One on Friday, one on Thursday. Saturday. One on Friday, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Right? Right. Okay. So, Phase 4 was a divisive phase. Phase 3 started that. Phase 4 mastered it. There was so much hatred for these movies, except for maybe 2. Right? Which, one, I understand. One, I don't understand. I have a big problem with the one that they say is like the best of this phase, which is not. But there's clearly one of them. I agree, because number 7 is the Eternals. Was this movie necessary? Like, I understand. Oh, we brought in some stuff before, like Ant-Man and the Guardians of the Galaxy and Doctor Strange that people really didn't know about. So we're bringing in these guys. They are literally the worst characters ever. They have been around for eons and never interfered in anything. Anything MCU-wise, nothing. The Attack on New York, nothing. Ultron, nothing. Civil War stuff, nothing. Thanos snapping away half of the universe, nothing. Why? Well, they're not Celestials. Isn't Thanos a Celestial? Hello? McFly. Isn't he Celestial? Isn't that what it is? Isn't he am I wrong? But yeah, it wasn't a Celestial problem, so we didn't need to go in there. And they seem to ignore this too, because a lot of people guess, what happened to the giant Celestial hanging out of the Earth? Which I think they do mention in one of the TV series, but like, I can barely remember anything in this movie, to be honest. I have watched this once since I first time I watched it. It's really nothing to me. I do not like this movie. Maybe I should rewatch it, but it'll probably still be the worst. But there's dust. Because I haven't watched it, there's dust. But yeah, you have big stars in here with like Angelina Jolie and Richard Madden and Kumail Nanjiani. But this movie is, and the biggest issue is this movie is 3 hours long. That's the same time as Endgame. It does not need to be 3 hours long. It's a slog from beginning to end. And dude, this is the only MCU movie my son and I have not watched together. Because I told him, well, there's the Eternals. He's like, the Eternals? I'm like, yeah, it's 3 hours long. He said that with the Snyder Cut. But he would rather sit through a 4-hour Snyder Cut than 3 hours of this, I guess. One of these times we'll have to watch it because he's got, maybe he'll like it. I don't know. But, yeah, no. It's the worst. Number 6 is going to be a movie that I say is too little, too late. And that's Black Widow. Now, Black Widow was talked about getting her own film back when Age of Ultron came out. Like, oh yeah, we're working on a film. And then by the time it came out, Black Widow was dead. Like, she died in Endgame, spoiler alert. And so this is another one that's sort of a prequel. It takes place between the events of Civil War and Infinity War. And so it's what she did. So we're connecting with her family. It's the MCU debut of Florence Pugh, and everyone started, swanning over her. Although you could say that Midsommar started that. But yeah, and really, Ray Guardian's going to be, and like, everybody complain about the Taskmaster. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of what they did either. Not the fact that she's female, but that it's just boring character. The Taskmaster, you've seen the Ultimate Spider-Man animated series from Disney XD. Taskmaster was one of the main villains, and he was fantastic. And this doesn't talk, doesn't do anything. It's a female, but it's fine. But it just, it copies the moves of the Avengers and stuff. It's just, I think I've watched this maybe twice. And it's just, out of all these, it's not the one I go back to the least. That's back to the least, that's Eternals. But I haven't had I haven't had any need to go back. Number 5 is the highly overrated Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Look, there's something to be said about, like, there was a lot of hype for this, but, and I said this quite a few times in my review, but I can't get behind a Black Panther movie, a movie called Black Panther, where the title character doesn't show up until the end of the movie. And again, you could probably sit there until you blue in the face going, but Shuri is the Black Panther, and she's throughout the entire film. But she's not the Black Panther through the entire film. It's not until the end of the film. And I said this in my review, but there's an easy fix for that. She makes these suits for the Dora Milaje that can give them super speed and super strength. Why not make one that looks like a Black Panther suit and she wears it, but then finds out that it's not perfect and she has to resort to getting the heart-shaped herb back. Heart-shaped herb, bring it back and use it and become the actual Black Panther. At least she's going around in a suit for most of the film. Where here, she's not. And it's kind of a disappointment to me. But I already did this review earlier, and you want to see my full thoughts on that, just watch the review. But it just didn't impress me. I like the villain. I'm not going to try to pronounce the guy's name, but Namor, guy who plays Namor, he's great as the villain, but the climax kind of just out with, oh, peace. Let's just make peace. After fighting each other, killing my mother, make peace. But yeah, it's fine, but I'm not in a hurry to go back to him anymore, more than the other ones. But so, in fact, I might even watch Black Widow again before I watch that. So maybe I should put that lower. But I think it's a better film. Number 4, Thor. Again, number 4. Love and Thunder. Thor 4 is number 4. And I don't get to hate for this. I think that, the same aesthetic style, the same style as Ragnarok. The villain is great, albeit don't seem to his full potential, but it's PG-13, that sort of thing. The Jane Foster stuff just kind of peters out at the end. Doesn't really work. You turn Korg just to a stone face. But I did like it. I did a review last night. Watched that. I think it's pretty good. I don't get to hate. I don't get to hate at all. This next one took me by surprise. Purple Rain. Purple Rain. I don't know if I talked about it in my review because I watched this with my son. Okay, I don't know if I did talk about it in my review. Maybe I did. Yeah, because the first time I watched this was with my son. So, it was on Disney+. When we were watching this, my mom came down to do laundry because we watched when I had my son, our hangout thing is the basement. We have our beds down there now, and there's TV, Disney+, and HBO Max for now. But when this came out on Disney+, we watched it together. And my mom came down to do laundry, and she turned Alexa on to play music. And it was playing Purple Rain. It was on the fight scene on the scaffolding, and I paused, or I muted the TV, and we just watched it with the song, and it goes like hand in hand with that. So if when next time you watch this, get on your phone as the scaffolding fight scene goes, put on Purple Rain, and it goes fantastic with it. I promise you, it works. Now, my big problem was with the villain, because they promised us the real Mandarin would be in here. He's not the real Mandarin. I refuse to believe it. He's not the real Mandarin. He even says, oh, that guy that tried to be me, he even had a stupid name, the Mandarin. So that leads me to believe he's also not the real Mandarin. He just is like, look, we're never going to get the actual Mandarin, an alien from outer space who has the rings on his fingers. So this is the closest we're going to get. It's better than Trevor Slattery, but I just feel like I just want the Mandarin. And when this was coming out, I'm like, yeah, give us the Mandarin when Iron Man's dead. But it's not, in my opinion, it's still not the real Mandarin. Alright, number 2. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Most complaints about this was, oh, it's not a madness, multiverse stuff. I will agree there's not enough multiverse stuff, but you have the, what you call it, the group of people. I haven't watched this in a while. What are they called? I haven't looked at any of the run times here, so forget about it. But the group of people that have like multiverse version, you got Black Bolt, you got Professor Xavier, played by Patrick Stewart, of course. You have this Captain Marvel, Photon, what you want to call her, the Maria Rambeau of this version of this Earth. John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. And if you think you're going to give us John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic here and think that's going to satisfy us, you're going to cast someone else for the Fantastic Four movie, think again, Marvel. John Krasinski must stay Mr. Fantastic. You can't just go, here, there he is, kill him off, and say, we're going to cast someone else as the actual Mr. Fantastic. No, it has to be the same actor. I don't care. They've been trying to plan that movie for years, and they still haven't casted the fucking actors. But Krasinski must stay. Has to be Mr. Fantastic. Now that you've shown him to us in this movie, you bring him back. You bring him back, and you keep him in there. But yeah, I like America Chavez. I think she's a great character. She uses the thing, the portal, like the multiversal star thing. Wanda as a villain, I wasn't like, why are they so scared to give us Mephisto? Because the whole thing WandaVision, which I'll get to, which I'll go into more detail, was like, who is doing this? Who is it? And it was like, it's Mephisto, it's Mephisto, it's Mephisto. And it's the Catherine Hahn living next door. So this movie, who's the villain? The trailers made it seem like it was an evil version of Doctor Strange. And you watch the movie, and it's Wanda, and it's like, why do they keep pushing her as a villain? She's not a villain. Yes, what she did in WandaVision was dark, but it changes. She changed, right? She learned her lesson, but no, you're just gonna have her not learn her lesson, that she did at the end of WandaVision. And that's another thing people are kind of complaining about was, to understand what's going on in this movie, you have to watch WandaVision or you have no idea what's going on. So, yeah, the TV shows are required viewing. And then you get people going, no, I'm going to skip that. I'm not interested in that. I'm going to skip it. And I'm sitting there going, you have to watch it. No, I don't. Yeah, you do. Because there's stuff in these, like, if you didn't watch WandaVision, you're not going to understand this. If you didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, you're not going to understand the new one, Captain America movie. If you didn't watch Miss Marvel, you're not going to understand the Marvels. You need to watch these shows to understand what's going on. Even you have to watch What If, because there's Captain Carter on here. And, my mom was confused. She's like, well, where did she come from, though? She was in the What If series. And she kept asking, well, she's in the What If. I know that, but what is... I'm like, I had to explain what happened in the episode. But, yeah, I still think this is a good movie. But number one, to no surprise, is Spider-Man No Way Home. This might be even high on my MCU ranking eventually when I do it. But, I need to get a drink. My throat is sore. Spider-Man No Way Home. The biggest thing that pissed me off, the only thing that pissed me off, is that they just plain refused to reveal that the two previous Spider-Men, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, were in the movie. It came down to there were leaked set photos and everything. And they just kept telling the actors, you can't say anything. Andrew Garfield had like 2 other movies come out, and he kept getting asked about it. And the new leaks would come out, there'd be pictures, stuff, and he said, oh, it's Photoshop, it's fake, I'm not in the movie, that sort of thing. And by the time that interview happened, I'm just like, okay, he's in it. He has to be in it. And it frustrates me, because I said this in my review, but wouldn't you want to reveal they're in it so that you can have more, like, what if Deadpool 3 came out and there was rumors that Hugh Jackman was coming back But every time he was that, it's like, nah, I'm not gonna be in it. I'm not in it. And then he shows up, and you're like, why didn't they market it with that? Instead, he's coming back. We know it, and now people are gonna go see this movie. Why didn't you reveal they're in it? They're not even on the covers, like at all. They're nowhere to be seen. They're not even on the discs. You got that, you know? And there's even some villains that were missing, you know? But you saw some little things, and eventually they just revealed the villains. But the whole first trailer, we see Dr. Octopus come out, and it's Alpha Millie, and he goes, hello, Banner. It, you know, hits you. But I just feel like they should have, like, even after the movie, I'm like, why didn't they market it? You would have gotten a lot of people went to season one because they already knew. But if you marketed it with them in it, like, you show events, like, they weren't even at the event, you know, for it. And so it's like, they're in the movie, but they're not allowed to get any press because they want it to be a big fucking secret. Why couldn't they just put it in the marketing? Having 3 Spider-Mans, showing trailers with 3 Spider-Men fighting. And by the way, the biggest clue that we got was they showed the scene where in the movie, all 3 Spider-Mans jump off against 3 villains, but they edited it, so it was just Tom Holland's Spider-Man jumping off against 3 villains, and we went, yeah, that's believable. The other 2 Spider-Men are definitely in this movie, because who else is jumping with him? And people are like, oh, it's 2 other villains that are good guys now, because you don't see him in there. It's Dr. Octopus and the Green Goblin. What are you on? No, not Green Goblin. Dr. Octopus and Sandman. No. And the Lizard. Right? I don't know. Or Doctor Strange, which he kind of gets pushed to the side towards the end of the movie. But yeah, this is the best of Phase 4, in my opinion. It's the best Spider-Man in the MCU came out. In fact, I would wager to say it's probably the best Spider-Man movie ever. Question mark on that. But, you know, because Spider-Man 2 for a long time held that contention. And I think Sony, this is a way to use more than one villain and do it right. Because everybody thought, oh, they're using all these villains, it's going to be a clusterfuck just like Amazing Spider-Man 2, just like Spider-Man 3. But Marvel, MCU, Marvel, Disney Marvel, knows what they're doing. Knows how to do multiple villains, and they know how to do it, and they did it right. So that's Spice number 1. Boom. So, what are your thoughts on Phase 4 films of the MCU? Remember, comments below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. What are your ranking for the MCU films of Phase 4? Remember, comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty. I'll see you in the next.